Everybody hear that? You say, well met again, lockkeeper. We're laden even deeper than the year before, with ornamental oils and teas brought home from Singapore. While I wait for my lock to cycle, I say my wife has given me a son. A son, you cry, is that all that you have done? She wears bougainvillea blossoms, and you pluck them from her hair, and you toss them in the tide, and you sweep her in your arms and take her inside. She catch your breath on her shoulder, and her moon, the moonlight, her eyes go bolder through the tears. And I say, how could you leave her for a year? So come with me, you say, to where the Southern Cross goes high above your shoulder. Come with me, you cry. Each day you spend its lock, you grow much older, and your blood grows colder. And the anchor chains a fetter, and with it you are tethered to the foam. And I wouldn't trade your life for 1 hour of home. Sure, I'm stuck here on the seaway while you compensate for leeways in the trades. And you shoot the stars to find your way through the miles you've made. And you laugh at the hearts you've riven, but which of these have given us more life and life? You, your tropic maids, or me, my wife. So come with me, you say, to where the cross goes high upon your shoulder. Come with me, you cry. Each day you turn this lock, you grow much older, and your blood runs colder. And each chain and the anchor chains a fetter, and with it you are tethered to the foam. And I'd not trade your life for 1 hour of home. So come with me, you say, where the Southern Cross rides high upon your shoulder. And come with me, you cry. Each day you tend this lock, you grow much older, and your blood runs colder. And that anchor chain's a fetter, and with it you are tethered to the foam. And I'd not trade your life for 1 hour of home. It takes 40 years to be able to do that overnight. So how to bring that all together, huh? We're in the midst of a series of serious transitions. I'm going to cover those. Before I do, I'll give you some the lexicon to even talk about this. So one of the transition is the transition of the identity model that we've been using. The other is a communication approach. And the other is an intention viewpoint. Now, all of these have been talked about over the last 2 days, except perhaps the identity model. And the only exception to that is when John Udell called me an identity geek. And that he pointed out that, nobody, even at Microsoft, uses info cards. I'll explain that why. So first off, let's talk about what an active client is. An active client then is a piece of code that manages the identity of a client or an endpoint. So in the lexicon that we're talking about when I say active client, that's what that means. It can be in a selector or a browser extension. And as you'll see in the future, I predict that all devices that want to participate in context automation will be active clients. And a passive client, on the other hand, is a client or endpoint that doesn't have any code to manage anything. And the traditional example of this is a cookie-based scenario where the organization or the website is impinging what they want to do on you through cookies. Can you hear me okay? Testing. Can you hear me better now or no? I'll just hold this up like this so then you can hear me really well. So what then's an endpoint? This is sometimes referred to as a client. This is an intelligent device capable of participating in contextual activity, as we'll describe here. Then what is context automation? That's defined as a series of events that automate context for a person, a program, or an endpoint. And in the background there, you'll see the contextual triangle, which I introduced last Impact Conference, but I'm going to be a little more specific. So, what's an individual? Sometimes called a user, a buyer, or a customer. Now, you'll note that a lot of times an individual is referred to as a consumer. I try to avoid that for a lot of reasons that when you read the white paper that comes out that has this in it, you'll see why. I won't try to get into that now. So let's talk a little bit about identity for a second. In identity, there are two elements. Most people, when talking about identity, talk about the A's, and that's the authentication and authorization process of identity. I want to make sure that we cover the P's. And the P's are test. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Privacy, policy, and permissioning. The reason, then, that information cards have so much trouble is because everyone who's thinking about them is focused on single sign-on and authentication and authorization and not thinking about privacy, policy, and permissioning, which is a much more powerful part about the information card architecture and technology. So, one other part of the lexicon is OAuth.